Welcome back to the Wisconsin Road Trip. On this episode, we're going to finish up the logging contracts that we started on the last episode, and also take care of most of the tasks that we have in the list. We're going to get a lot done on this one, so stick around, it's going to be a good time. Let's get started, everybody. First thing we'll do is drop this generator trailer and get turned around. We'll grab onto that red wagon trailer. We're going to head up into the hills and find 4 wooden planks for the weather station. Thankfully, there's a couple of houses in the area that we can deconstruct and get the full load in one trip. So let's make a mark on them right now. The first one is not showing up on the map because we haven't driven by it yet, but that's the direction we're going to be heading. And then from there, we'll head up to the weather station in the southeast corner of the map. We'll take a left out of the brick factory and follow this back road up to the river, where we'll have to cross it and head up the other side. The river crossing isn't deep, but I did manage to get the truck stuck on the other side, getting it high centered on the hill. But after some finagling, I got out of there. Sometimes you get stuck in the most unsuspecting places. Just at the top of the hill here is that wood planking I was talking about. From here we can drive right around the back side of this house, and we'll go down the hill on the other side, follow the river down, and that second house isn't too far away. It does get kind of deep out here in the middle of this river, so try to stay to the side if you want to speed it up a little bit. And we made it here. Okay, we have all 4 of the planks we need. Now we just gotta head up to the weather station. Let's head back through the brick factory. We're gonna get topped off with fuel and bring that generator trailer with us. If you remember on the last episode, it's almost out of fuel and we've been using it as a fuel trailer, so we're gonna need to get it refilled. We can pull it behind with the winch. We'll just have to make sure that we're careful that it doesn't tip over our red trailer. And the next stop is over by the gateway. That's where we'll drop it off for now. We're going to put the Paystar to the test in this episode. We won't be using any other trucks, but basically we're going to take care of all of the little loose ends that we have hanging around the map, and this truck is going to do a pretty good job doing it. We can drop the generator trailer here and we'll turn up into the trees, take that little shortcut we've been taking on the last episode. This is quite a bit faster to get up into the weather station. I did pull the bore off to the side because I knew I'd be coming through here, and it was parked right in the way. So delivery to the weather station is now complete. I'm going to load up that red wagon trailer on the back of the truck, just like I've been doing before. If you want to see how I did it, you'll have to watch the last couple episodes where we've done it multiple times. Let's head back down towards the gateway. We're going to grab that generator trailer and pull it into Greenwood's River. So if you remember, we've been waiting to do the out of nowhere task because that white Western Star has a full fuel tanker on it. Well, now we can finally transfer that fuel out of there. We're going to put it in the generator, and then we'll get that truck turned in to open up the warehouse. Make sure you get the fuel out of the truck itself too, and not just the tanker. You don't need to leave anything in there to turn this truck in. Out of Nowhere is finally complete, and we opened a mini warehouse. There are 10 metal rolls in here that we're going to load up and take back with us. So we can pull this trailer off the side. I'm going to get it positioned so the tongue of it is facing the road. That way we can just drive straight out with it and we don't have to try to turn it around. Then we'll get connected to it and get it loaded up. Between the truck and trailer, we can load 5 metal rolls, but just like before, I don't really want to come back over here for a second trip, so I'm going to overload. Like I said last time, if you're not comfortable with overloading, you can always make 2 trips. We can get 1 extra roll in the trailer, just dropping it into the middle, and then the additional 4 rolls will stack up on the truck. So we have 10 metal rolls loaded up now. We're going to take these over to the brick factory and turn them into the storage. And we might as well bring this generator trailer with us, since we're heading back over there. You could use the GMC to pull the generator back, but it does struggle a little bit compared to the Paystar. The Paystar just has a lot more pulling power. So let's make our journey back. I'm going to try driving through the middle of these mud holes because this thing is a little bit top heavy at the moment and I don't really want to tip it over in there by driving on the side. And I hit a tree in the middle of the road. It stopped me dead in my tracks. I thought I was going to tip the whole thing over, but I just lost the 1 roll. I'll get that loaded up real quick and then we can continue on. Those trees can be real buggers. Surprisingly, these rolls stay on pretty well, even without pinning them down. They've got a lot of weight to them, and that definitely helps to keep them in place. We made it back over here. I'm going to pull this trailer over here to the left and park it off to the side, and we can turn these metal rolls in. We'll be using these later on for the paper factory contracts, so this storage zone right here is a good place to put them. Just make sure when you turn these in, you want to lift at least one of them up in the air and get it high enough so that when you pack the next row, it doesn't delete it. Okay, we've got 10 metal rolls stocked up in there. From here, we're going to jump back into the GMC. We'll bring that over with that service trailer so we have a repair station over here at the brick crafting zone. Pretty much just setting up all of the necessities that we need to be doing work in this area. There are a few repair points left in the truck itself too, like 200 and something I think. So between the truck and trailer we've got more than enough to finish up this region. But just off the start, when I went through that first mud hole, I ended up tipping it over. So I grabbed the boar from the top of the hill, brought it down, and I'm going to pick it back up with this. I'll have to disconnect that service trailer to get it tipped up. We can just leave this truck off to the side here. Thank you, boar. Let's head over to the crafting zone and we'll get it parked up there. You wouldn't have to bring this service trailer over there if you were confident that you weren't going to need it. And I guess even if you did end up in a situation where you needed it, you could always just do this at that point. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to damage my trucks up because I tend to do that a lot. So I like to just have a service trailer in the area to use right away. Okay, now that we're here, we've got repair and refuel in the area. We should be set to work on everything from here to the end of the region. My Paystar does need a little bit of repair in the suspension. Now from here, we're gonna run over to that southeast warehouse and load up 8 cement. We've already crafted 8 package sand from the quarry, and we got them stocked up in the crafting zone already. And we'll need 1 package sand and 1 cement to craft a brick. So the 8 cement that are in the warehouse are gonna be exactly what we need in order to get 8 bricks crafted. I'm going to show you a little easier way to get into that warehouse. Once you go through this dip, there's a power line pole here, and just on the other side of it, you can go through the trees, and it'll come out right by that little horseshoe. In my opinion, this is probably the quickest way to get on this road, and the safest. And just after you go down the hill, that warehouse is off to the right. We can make a loop around, so we don't have to try to back this trailer up once we're loaded. And we'll get 5 cement loaded up right away. There's 3 left. We're gonna just overload the last 3 up on the top of the truck. We'll drive these back over to the brick crafting zone. Definitely gonna make sure I use my beacons for this trip because they add at least 20% safety. No, but for real, just seeing them flashing kind of constantly reminds me that I need to take it easy. Once again, we'll cut up through the trees, right at the top of this little horseshoe on the hillside. And it takes us right back out to the main road. When we get into the paper factory contracts, there's going to be a lot of bricks that are required. So just having these 8 additional ones crafted is going to help us out quite a bit, even though we will still have to drive around the map and load up some that are out in the wild. It's going to be a mixture of both crafting and scavenging. So we'll get these turned in. Then we can craft those 8 bricks. Now we got those stocked up. Let's start tracking the lost supplies task. We need to load up the 2 service spare parts that fell off into the river right up by that bridge. Make sure you get topped off with fuel before starting this trip. Paystar is very fuel hungry, and you pretty much always got to top off every time you get a chance to. We'll head back over to that logging station, and there's a road that goes out the backside right down the hill by that bridge. We haven't gone this way yet. There are some big rocks on this hill. You just have to drive down them nice and slow so you don't destroy everything or tip over. Now this first service spare part, when you load it up, you kind of want to be parked right up the hill from that gap that's between the rocks. From my experience, that's kind of the only place that you can pull it out of there. Otherwise it tends to get stuck on the rocks and it doesn't want to lift out. But we got that first one, and then we'll pull up on top of the bridge and we'll get the second one from there. Now we just got to drive up the road a little ways to the house around the corner, and we'll get these turned in. We're going to take care of pretty much every task except for a couple of them on this episode. And we'll also be finishing up all of the logging contracts that we started on the last one. So we will have quite a bit done. Okay, that one's complete. From here, we're gonna start tracking the big trees to small homes contract. We need to haul 4 wooden planks to the house in the south. So we're gonna head over to the sawmill and get loaded up with those, but along the way, we're gonna grab some bricks out here and take them over to the sawmill storage zone. So there's a couple right up the hill here to the left. Just gonna drop the trailer so I don't have to drag it in there with me. Then we'll get loaded up. I'm actually a big fan of having these storage zones around the map because I do like to use some of the trucks that don't have mini cranes. And it makes it kind of nice to be able to pull in there and get loaded without it. Also, then I don't have to use those trucks to drive out into these harder to reach places to get the bricks in the first place. So we'll turn those in. We're gonna grab 4 wooden planks from here. If you remember, we hauled 1 load of long logs over here and we were able to craft 12 wooden planks out of it. So just like the bricks, we're kind of doing a mixture of using some of the wooden planks that we find out in the wild and then also supplementing that with crafted wooden planks. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You can do a combination of both. Heading to that house in the south, we're going to take our back trail here that we've taken a couple times just by going down this hill, and we'll cross a river. The house is right on the other side of it. When you're going downhill with that red wagon trailer, make sure you use your handbrake periodically, because the trailer itself doesn't have trailer brakes, like when you hit the brakes. But if you put your handbrake on, it does actually lock up the rear brakes of the trailer, and it will help to keep it from sliding around and tipping over. Just make sure you accelerate through it when you have the handbrake on to keep the front of your truck downhill. So we've got that one complete as well. And from here we're going to start tracking the lost order task. We need to load up the 2 oil barrels that have fallen off of that derailed train down there and haul them up to the platform by the house. This one also requires manual loading and unloading, so make sure you have a truck with a mini crane to do this. If we follow the shoreline down a little ways, there's a wooden bridge over here that we can cross. We'll drive right up the other side and go down the hill by the railroad tracks. This bridge is a little bit sketchy, but it's actually better than a lot of the other ones that we've encountered. And then going up this hill on the other side, we haven't gone this way yet either, but there are some rocks. Just try to keep your momentum, that'll help you quite a bit. Then we'll cross the main road, go right down the other side, and those oil barrels are just down in the bottom. The mud gets pretty deep down here in this swampy area, so just kind of try to drive on some of these rocks if you can. Now from here we can drive up the hill, and there's some more brick framing. We'll get that loaded up and haul that over to the sawmill as well, since we're going right by there. Most likely there will be a few places that there's brick framing we won't go out and get. Some of the places are just really out of the way and not worth making the trip for. But we can turn these ones in here at the sawmill. We're going to just drive straight up the hill. That house is up on the top. And just like with Aftermath of Hurricane, we just got to load them up on the platform. Then it gives us the option to turn them in with the cargo management. So now we've got that one complete. We can run down to the fuel station and get topped off. Then we'll get loaded up and make our next trip out of here. Let's head back over to the sawmill. We'll grab 6 wooden planks for the next contract. We can start tracking the contribution to farm restoration contract. We'll need to haul 6 of them over there to the farm. So we can load up 5 right away, and we'll just stack the 6th one up on top. I'm going to put it on the back so that I can get the crane over the top of it a little easier to pin it down. We're going to make a long trip across the map from here. We'll head down by the paper factory, cross that big bridge, go over by the fuel station, and take the back way into the farm. If you remember when we came through here with both the Kolob and the twin steer, we were able to get through this mud fairly easily, although the Paystar does struggle to get through here. Actually, I think I got hung up on a tree on that first spot there. But the Paystar probably could drive all the way through here, just taking it real slow. I'm gonna help it with the winch just to try to save on some fuel. This next stretch here where it's nice and sloppy, it does tend to get through here okay if you just keep it in low. We are using the JAT mud tires that have the highest off-road rating, so they do not have the highest mud rating. They're still getting the job done though. Just make sure you take it easy when you bounce over these rocks so you don't flip over. We don't really have any trucks in this area to help get it righted back up. Then we can turn off on this back road and head down by the shoreline. You could technically drive across the lake right here by this brick framing. It's not actually very deep. But I want to run by the fuel station and get topped off before we do, because we're going to keep using this truck for more stuff after this. So now from here we can take the back way into the farm and cross the lake over here. Alright, we'll get these ones turned in. And contribution to farm restoration is now complete. We're going to work on the look before you leap task. We need to haul that Chevy Kodiak up to the top of the hill. This one is kind of challenging because it's a steep hill with a lot of rocks on it. And the Kodiak, even though it's a smaller truck, it's not particularly the lightest truck. But we'll pull this trailer up to the side here and drop it, and I'll show you how I'm going to take care of this one. The swamp out here is super deep. Make sure you drive to the side of the road on the way over there. It will help quite a bit to speed it up. But once we get closer to that truck, it's just going to be really deep. I typically try to avoid driving through here because it's mostly just winching yourself through. It's not always the most enjoyable. I'm going to use the mini crane to try to get that Kodiak turned around so it's facing the right direction. Then I'll have to winch my truck out of here. It's really nasty out here. Okay, and just like we did with the red wagon trailers, I'm actually going to load the Kodiak up on the back of the Paystar. That's why I wanted to get it turned around, because the frame sticks out so far past the back of it that if I had loaded it backwards, I don't think I would have been able to get all the wheels on it. There we go. I'll just pull it a little bit further up here, try to get it straightened out. And I can use the winch off the front of my truck to pull it the rest of the way. And to get the wheels up there on the last part, I'm just going to turn the Kodiak on. It'll help drive itself up there. Okay, that's far enough. Now we can pack it, and then we'll get refueled. The Kodiak has a full tank, so we might as well use it. This Paystar is pretty versatile, having this 3-slot bed. I enjoy using it. Alright, now driving up the hill, you just have to kind of make sure you don't tip over on these rocks and hillsides. Then when you get to the top, this is probably the most challenging part, is just trying to get turned up to the right here. But then I almost tipped over, and luckily I caught it with the crane before I did. Instead of trying to load it back up, I'm just going to drag it up the hill. We'll get topped off one more time. And look before you leap is now complete as well. Let's head back down the hill. From here we're going to start tracking the aftermath of the hurricane task. We need to load up 3 of the vehicle spare parts that are laying around at the bottom, and we'll get them turned in up there at the unloading point. This one also requires manual loading and unloading, so once again, make sure you have a mini crane on your truck. We will have to drive through the swamp when we get to the bottom, although after I drove through here, I kind of noticed that You could probably drive right between those stumps that are sticking out, that are kind of in a V shape, and I think it might have been a little easier. Next time I'll try that. It's slow moving and a lot of winching to get through here though. The first one we need to load up is just outside of the swamp, so we'll run in here and grab that. And then the next one is down the road a little ways. This is another area that's kind of bad to drive through, but if you try to stay to the sides of the road, it does help a little bit. Just make sure you're kind of watching for winch points. There are some trees that are down underneath the water, but it's always good to stay closer to like the power line poles or any trees that you see standing up, just to make sure you don't get stuck somewhere. And for the second one here, I'm not going to drive in through that driveway where the house is, but rather I'll drive in on the grass. It's a little bit trickier to get in here all the way for this one, but not impossible. We're going to drop these two off on the way to the third one, since we'll have to drive right past the unloading point to get there. So we can back out of here and we'll drive across the road, take the back way up in there. We can cut through the trees here. There is a little road back here, kind of a swampy area to get through. And then once you see that wooden bridge, you can just turn off and go up the hill. This hill is actually kind of a challenge to get up, mostly because of the rocks. But now that we're up here, we'll set these up on the platform and get them turned in. Okay, we got that done. The third one is just around the corner and up the hill. We drove past it on the first episode with the Lodestar. It's down in the bottom underneath the bridge up here. We'll get it loaded up and then we'll turn around and head back out of here. So as you can see, the Paystar does take care of a lot of these jobs pretty easily. Once again, I'll reiterate that I do like using this truck. It has a lot of good purposes. I'm pretty happy that we've added it to the fleet. We'll get the third one turned in. Aftermath of the hurricane is now complete. And I almost forgot we have one more task, saving the farmer's machinery. So we'll jump into the Cat 745C. We're going to drive this down the hill and pull that white Western Star over to the Riverside house. I should mention that I did give some of the fuel from the big Cat to the boar when the boar was up here, because that truck was almost empty and I didn't want it to run out. So make sure you do that if you want to take that long log trailer back and sell it off. But if you're just abandoning your trailers, then I guess it's not a problem. We can take this mountainside road all the way back over there to the farm. This road is real nasty with a lot of the trucks, but the big Cat is pretty stable, so it handles these river crossings pretty good. And then at the bottom of the hill, I'm just going to turn off into the field. Although it got a lot deeper than I was expecting at this one spot right here. Took a little bit of engine damage. I didn't realize there was a hole right there. And this field out here is one of the muddier spots on this map. We can steal some fuel out of the white Western Star. It has a full tank, 300 liters. So we'll get the Cat topped off. And then I'm just going to pull it over there backwards. The white Western Star is not damaged, so it will drive itself, and it does have off-road tires on it. So you might as well turn it on and let it help. We're just going to follow the shoreline all the way over to the Riverside house. This is the same location that we dropped off the 4 wooden planks to complete the big trees to small homes contract. The house in the south. We can drive around these big rocks by going out into the lake a little bit. It's pretty solid out here. Then we'll go past the wooden bridge and just continue following down the shoreline. So as you can see, we took care of the open-ended contracts that we had and most of the tasks on the list. After this, there will only be 2 left, and the only contracts remaining are going to be the paper factory contracts and the final contract. I'll get topped off with fuel one more time before I pull it in there. Not that we're really going to need this truck, but it is good to have it over here for a rescue truck. And saving the farmer's machinery is now complete. We're 81% complete with the Wisconsin region. We have 2 tasks left and only a handful of contracts. So from here we're going to get started on the paper factory Section A contract, but we're going to save that for the next one. There's only 4 episodes left to this series, so make sure you don't miss them because Wisconsin's going to be over before you know it. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you then, and thanks for watching.